good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, as we get to ride home with each other in the afternoon. You can find us syndicated on television, and that's Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And we don't want you to get fired. You know, we've talked about this several times. Don't watch live when you're at work. Don't do that. So you can find us on facebook.com/DFeazell. If you'd like to see another one with Julia Christine, she's got quite a few shows, quite a series of shows here on the show. And you can just type in Donna Feazell, Julia Christine, and you'll be able to pull all those shows up. So you'll be able to go back and look at something you may have missed the first time around. Also, we have a YouTube channel. And you can find us on X. You can find us on, if it's social media, we are doing it. So, again, thank you so much for watching. Continue sending emails. I love them. Donna@DonnasEdge.com. Donna@DonnasEdge.com. Now, sometimes y'all send the same one. And some of you say, mention my name. Some people say, don't mention my name. So I don't get it confused. I'll just not mention names. How about that? You know, unless you distinctly want me to do it, then I'll be glad to do it. Julia Christine is with us right now.
Yay!
I learned how to breathe because of you, Julia.
Yay! I love that. I love that for you.
I love it for me too.
Yeah.
And my husband loves it for me too.
Good.
So, as a matter of fact, he has admitted he's learned to breathe.
I'm so glad. I was actually hoping you were going to go with that. So, yay.
Yes.
Score.
So for a man, that's quite a thing. Well, for a man in the South, I'm not sure it is for a man up there in your neck of the woods. But anyway, he breathes.
Everybody can do it. And everybody, I don't like using this word, but should do it.
Yeah, you really should. You know, we went to just a regular checkups, went to the doctor, and even our doctor said something about, but because he put Phil, and he's tall and skinny, okay, but he put him on an exercise regimen.
Right.
And so me and I are both exercising together, you know, because I need to exercise more too. And so I just asked him how important it was to breathe between the exercise and while you're, say, doing a setup or whatever.
Yeah.
You breathe in and then out. In and he said, oh, that's very important. You need to know how to breathe.
Yeah, there's actually a science experiment that was done. There's a scientist named Joe Dispenza. Fantastic. Writes amazing books about the actual science behind manifesting the things that you want in life. Brilliant. And like, it gets really sciencey. So like, just know that that's where he's coming from, but it's proof and evidence that what I, let's say, teach works. And he did a study with a group of, I want to say 10 to 20 people who had never meditated before. And so all he asked them to do was for 2 weeks, they meditated for 5 minutes a day, which is just breathing, which is all we're doing. It's not like you have to like completely zone out or like go to this like ethereal space. It's nothing like that. It's really just breathing for 5 minutes and concentrating on your breath. But they took their blood work before they did this test. And in 2 weeks, they took their blood work again. Their actual DNA structure changed from breathing, and it literally can save your life. It will change your life. It will save your life. It will allow you to find a space of calm and ease in order to approach your life, release and not just reduce, release anxiety. And it massive. And I always say, just start with 3 breaths, then go to 3 minutes. And like, you take 3 minutes on the toilet every morning, breathe.
Do while you're there.
I mean, like, what else are you doing, right?
Really?
Phone down.
Yes, don't call and text while you're doing that. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And another reason I said it is because Phyllis sent a message about breathing. And she said, I don't know if you knew this, Donna, but in the Bible, actually, Jesus actually says, be still and breathe. It's in the Bible. So, you know, it's all looked it up. I don't know how I missed that. But anyway, it literally does.
Right. And I want to tell you that be still is more important because obviously you're going to breathe. But the be still part is everything. And those 2 words equals prayer. Those 2 words equals meditation. It's all the same thing. But we talk about this all the time. You know how I feel about vocabulary. We put such weight on these words. And people say to me all the time, Julie, I can't meditate. And so I try to not use the word meditation because it turns people off. Some people who are really into prayer think that meditation is like evil or like heading you in the wrong direction.
No.
When in actuality, it is the same thing. And so like, it doesn't matter what's going on in your mind if you're actually speaking to someone or something, if you are actually just clearing your mind or just taking a few deep breaths, it's all the same thing. It is literally being still, coming to a place of neutrality and centering yourself in order to move. And I mean, like, I would encourage you to practice it right now. Just take 3 deep breaths and notice how much more calm you feel. Like, that's it. And all of a sudden, you can move forward in your very busy day from a space of calm. And I guarantee you, you're going to get more done.
Oh, you will. And I wanted to mention this. This was when I was a kid. Okay, so my grandmothers always believed you need to, and we do, you need to say your blessing before you eat. Well, I was starving. I was like 12 years old or something like that. And my grandmother said, okay, Donna, you say the blessing. And I was so hungry. And I went, God is great. God is good. Let's thank him for our food. I'm in. I did it like really fast. And my grandmother said, let's do a do-over on that one. Okay.
Right.
And what she was trying to say is know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, and be still about it. Quit being in a hurry. Sometimes I'm telling you, when I've been in a hurry in my life is when I've made the biggest mistakes.
It's true. It's when you can't find your keys. When you're rushing around trying to find something, you can't find it, and you're not gonna. But if you can take a minute and center yourself and ask yourself, what's the next logical step, or where did I see it last? You are more likely to find that thing than if when you're running around frantic, or like to leave faster. You know, this is getting a little woo-woo. I'm just gonna warn you that, like, you've heard people say that time is a construct, and there is validity to that. How we view time is totally skewed. When you take a couple of deep breaths and allow yourself to move slowly, you are far more productive than when you're scattered and running and trying to move quickly. I'm speaking from experience. Like, this is my life. You know what I mean? And so, like, I have stopped myself in the middle of something that I do not have time to stop, and just thought, I'm taking 10 minutes and I'm just going to sit right here. You don't have to take 10 minutes. You can take 3 or 5 or whatever, but I literally will sit and just clear my mind or play on my phone, do something to distract me from what all of the busy, and then take a deep breath and be like, all right, let's get back to work. And it's a game changer. It absolutely it's a life changer.
Yes, because time is a thing God created. So time is really, there is no time as far as we check the seasons and we do this. But I got to tell you, one of your number one fans is Philip Fiesel. Okay, so I was trying to find something the other day, and I was frantic, and I had like 10,000 things I needed to do. I mean, it was just one of those days, you know. And so I'm running around, and he goes, "What does Julia Christine say?"
Oh, yay, Phil. I love that so much. Please thank him for me. I love that. You're like, yeah, I loved it in the moment.
Yeah. He used to say, what would Jesus do? Now it's what would Julia Christine?
Same initials. No.
Different.
Very different.
But it's all
not claiming that.
It's all the same. I mean, it's all time is what we make out of it. It really. That's why sometimes you say, and I've heard a lot of people have sent me emails about this, about how time flies over the weekend when I'm off from work. And then I go back to work and it's dragging. Why would you say that? I mean, to me, time's always flying because I love everything I do. But what I'm saying is,
I mean, I can relate to that. Absolutely. And the reason why is because if you are doing something that you don't enjoy, then you notice every moment that goes by. And if you can find something that you do enjoy, and there's going to be stuff we don't like. And so then you just find the fun. Like, trust me, you know this, doing some of the stuff that we do, getting into, although you're really good with technology, like some of the technology stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, like sitting there creating my website or dealing with the website people who are not answering the questions that I'm asking them. And it's like, oh my God, and like you can get frustrated. That's a very human thing. And so you step away for a minute and you put a piece of music on and boogie your little butt off. And then you're in a different place and you come back and you're okay. And that's when time's going to start, you know, going faster in things that you don't like. Find the fun. Find something fun. Laugh at something, at how ridiculous what you're doing is. Or like make fun of it. Make fun of yourself. Find the fun. It is possible. And that will help get you through those times for sure.
Well, my moment is Aretha Franklin respect. And I know it's no.
No.
Oh, you should see me. Phil has a video somewhere of me doing this. I didn't know he was anywhere around. And so I went, all right, let me get my respect song on. So I'm just boogieing it. I mean, I'm just all over the place. And Phil went, I'm going to use this again.
I got you. That's amazing. I honestly have a sign on my door that says dance first, so that I get into a space of like dancing and moving before I leave the house. And it feels amazing because, I mean, it makes me smile. It makes me laugh. And all of a sudden, that's how I'm leaving my house. And I won't lie. And I tell this story often. I love a good funky groove, right? I love a good bass line. And I will literally just like strut my stuff. I walk everywhere. I'm in New York. So like I will put a piece of music on and I'll find myself literally like dancing while I walk. Like it's ridiculous. And then I realize that there's cars that are like at the stoplight watching me walk and like probably laughing at me. And it, instead of where in my past I would have been humiliated and embarrassed by that, I'm having such a good time. Nobody can take that away from me. And if I'm going to get them laughing on their way to wherever they're going, then there's two of us laughing now. And that's even better. So like, just have fun. Like, what else is the point? Why are you here? Have a good time. Like, truly, have fun.
Yeah, let people laugh. It doesn't matter what. You know, so that, and I'm a huge Seinfeld show fan. I love. I can quote the show. So there's one where Elaine is dancing, and she's a horrible dancer. Terrible.
Hilarious.
Okay, that's kind of how I dance. So if people laugh, apparently I don't have the, to do it. And but again, if you can make somebody else laugh, Carol Burnett was someone I followed my entire life. She had a rough upbringing. I mean, she's her grandmother raised her. And when she did this, it was a little signal to her grandmother, that I love you, whatever she wanted it to be that particular time. But that's what she did. Her mother was an alcoholic. And so she would just do funny stuff because her mother was depressed all the time. So she would just do funny stuff to try to make her mother laugh. And so that's how she turned into a comedian.
I know.
Someone asked her and she said, my mother was an alcoholic. She was depressed all the time. And she said, I just would just do funny stuff to try to make her laugh.
Right. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the thing is about like finding that fun and enjoying the heck out of your life is that like, if you can make other people laugh, fantastic, but that's not even what it's about. And if somebody's laughing at you, likely they're not mocking you. They're enjoying your enjoyment of whatever it is you're doing. And I love live music and I love watching musicians because they get so into it. They make the weirdest faces and they it's habitual, like this funk, like they do funny things. And I will literally go to live music and point and laugh at the musicians. And it's not that I'm like making fun of them. It's that I find it so amazing that they're so lost in enjoying what they're doing that there is not a care in the world, that their body is absolutely, their facial features, like everything is adjusting itself to be involved in this music. And like, that makes it more enjoyable for me. And so like, it's not about people mocking you when they laugh. It's people are enjoying you enjoying.
Because I get into it too. Mick Jagger was the best. I mean, Mick Jagger.
With his big lips.
He made big lips popular. You know that. Okay. The women all over the place started getting, the lips. But he was like the best. I mean, because, and this is another lesson, because he was into it, I got into it. So it was just like, it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Find the fun. It's the answer to everything, really.
It really is.
Yeah.
I saw, there was a movie came out called The Secret. And I believe some of the stuff. I mean, like there was a lady who had cancer, and what did she do? She laughed it away. And I'll have to say this, my grandmother had jawbone cancer back in the 60s when it was considered a death sentence. Mm-hmm. Like in those days, you had cancer, you're gone. You don't have much left. So she was a pretty woman. And so I heard my granddad talk about this. He said, they were really concerned. He was with her at the doctor's office. He was expecting the doctor talk to him first, then brought my grandmother in and talked to her. And he was expecting her to cry and carry on and all this kind of stuff. And so the doctor said, we've got to do surgery. We've got to do it. She said, so in other words, you take my jawbone out, the cancer's gone. And that's why she looked at it. And then he said, well, it could come back, but yes, that will get rid of the cancer like that. And she said, well, I guess take it out. I mean, that was her.
Yeah.
Well, then do it.
Well, then it sounds like we have a solution. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's a huge.
And she didn't die of cancer.
No.
She took it.
There's a book that I highly recommend, and I've quoted it on here before. It's called You Can Heal Your Life, and it's by Louise Hay. And there is, again, scientific data how where you put your focus will shift things in your body physically. Every cell in your body wants to thrive. Every cell. And we're comprised of a lot of cells. All of those cells want to survive. They want to thrive. They want to be here. And when you remember that, then you are always healthy. And what happens is we get stuck and we get hurt. And so then we hold on to that hurt, and that literally turns to like bile, and like it can affect and have an effect on your body. It manifests physically. And if you think about it, we were just talking about moving forward in your day with ease and from a sense of calm. What is that word? Dis-ease. Disease is dis-ease. You are not in a space of ease. And so you are generating in your physical body something from somewhere else. And Louise Hay talks about this, and she talks about forgiveness, which we've talked about. And we've talked about understanding that our parents did the best that they could with what they had, and like getting to a place of believing in yourself and in your wholeness and in your well-being so much that you are healthy, that you move through life in perfect health, regardless of all of the things coming at you. And I am here to tell you, done it myself. It is possible. And I believe it with every fiber of my being. The medications, and again, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying don't, like, you live your life. Mm-hmm. What I am saying is that when you think about the medications that we're putting in our body, we're literally poisoning ourselves. We're poisoning ourselves so that we can heal this one part of ourselves. I mean, think about all of the medical commercials you hear and the diatribe of things that could happen, including death. And yet we're going to take that. Like, what are you putting in your body? And so you literally can heal yourself just with your thoughts, just with what you're putting your focus on. And yes, what you put in your body. And so, like, for example, I talk about anxiety all the time, and how anxiety is simply fear of something that hasn't happened yet, fear of the future. You're nightmaring into something that you're taking on physically and making your heart rate race faster. It's a human thing. We all do it. But once you understand what it is, you can do it less. Now, I deal with people who are like on anxiety medications, and that's cool. I believe if you need a medication to find a baseline, cool. Get to that baseline. And while you do, we're going to work on practices to get you off of those meds. Like, I would encourage everyone, do what you want to do with your own medical history. Not telling you what to do. But I am encouraging you to get to a baseline so that then you can go off those things as quickly as possible. Because oftentimes, not every time, not a doctor, not claiming anything here, but oftentimes they're going to hurt us more than they help us. Because if nothing else, they do something in our brains that disconnects us from the truth of what we're talking about, from who we are, from hearing that voice of clarity, from moving forward in the wholeness of who we already are. My little soapbox about health.
I totally. Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that. Okay, so I have this total hysterectomy, and this is like 25 years ago, something like that. And so I know my body more than any doctor could know my body. You need to know your body, by the way, and listen
Amen.
to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what happened. He said, okay, so we're going to put you on hormone pills. And I went, I don't want to take hormone pills. He said, you've had a total hysterectomy. And I said, what did women do 2,000 years ago? They didn't have hormone pills. They didn't have any of this stuff. Well, they did natural, herbs and stuff like that. So I said, do I have to be on them? And he said, well, no, you don't have to. And he said, why do you not want to be on them? And I said, I don't want to act like my sister is one thing. And she doesn't listen to her body. And so she just goes like haywire. And I don't want to be like that. And he said, you're going to have to be put on them initially. And I said, okay, I can't even take an aspirin I mean, I can open up an aspirin bottle and it knocks me out. I just smell it. Something to me. I said, I'm just telling you need to put me on the lowest amount of estrogen possible. I mean, the lowest. And at that point, I'm only going to take a quarter of the pill, even at that point. So I did what he said for 1 month because I know my body and I listened to it. So actually, I went off of it a lot quicker than I told him I was going to. So I wound up doing like a quarter pill every day for a week. Then I did like every other day, and then I did one a week. So I go back to the checkup, and he said, well, you seem to be doing good. And that must be the right amount of estrogen for you. And I said, I'm not on it anymore. He said, you're not? And I said, no. And I told him what I did. I said, you're a wonderful doctor. I mean, you're great, but I know my body better than you do. And so that's what I did. And I have not taken one since.
Yeah. Listen, the society that we live in jumps to there's something wrong. It's a thing. Like I woke up and my stomach hurts. Okay, is it because of what I ate last night? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? What if you just woke up with a stomach ache? What if there's what if the bacteria in your tummy is getting rid of something? Like you don't, first of all, it's a human condition to want to understand everything, but understanding, but you don't have to understand everything is step one. And that when I literally have a client who was having like digestive issues and she had a bug, but she didn't think she had a bug. She immediately decided she had Crohn's disease because she looked something up and all of the symptoms were what she was experiencing. And she like got on the phone with me and was completely upset that she knew she had Crohn's disease and that she needed to get on medication and it was going to mess this up. And how am I going to cope with this? And I was like, first of all, you don't have Crohn's disease. Second of all, like, let's look at what you've eaten and let's look at what, like, her stress levels are insane. And it's like, do me a favor. Let's do some breathing and do this for the next 3 days and then let me know how you're doing. Turns out within 2 days, her symptoms were gone and her husband had them. She had a bug, but she immediately was ready to diagnose herself and go on medication. And there's no judgment in me telling this story. It's literally the society we live in. Something's wrong. It's the worst thing in the world and I'm going to die. Or I need to get I need to have medication. Instead of jumping to an aspirin when you have a headache, have a glass of water. You're probably dehydrated.
Oh my God. You'd be amazed at what that can do.
Absolutely.
I mean, just a glass of water.
It's insane. And I mean, I drink a lot of water. So I highly recommend drinking water in general. But like, if you're hungry and you don't want to eat anything because it's in between meals, drink a glass of water. You're probably thirsty. You're not hungry. You're thirsty. You know what I mean? But it's the society that we live in. So I would encourage you, once again, it all comes down to this every time. When you start to feel like, oh my gosh, something's wrong, take a couple of deep breaths, have a glass of water. Go for a walk, give it some time and see how you feel. And if you still feel terrible, then go to the doctor. But listen to your body because you might be able to say, you know what? I got 4 hours of sleep last night and didn't have hardly any water. My head hurts like this because I'm tired and I'm dehydrated. I'm moody, not because I need to be on hormone pills, but because I'm tired and I'm thirsty. You know what I mean? And literally, like you said, that's part of what breathing does is it allows you to get in tune with your body. When you pay attention and actually feel your lungs expand and fill with air, you're starting to feel parts of your body that you ignore all day long. And so it's going to put you automatically in touch with other parts of your body and you're going to be able to learn your body. And it starts with that awareness. Everything starts with awareness.
Well, any practice I've ever had in my, if I didn't control it, if I didn't breathe, if I didn't control an issue, that it usually starts from not even being sick. It starts from something happening in my family or something happening, whatever. It turns, and I wind up getting sick from that, and it has nothing to do. And I love WebMD. WebMD.com is a wonderful source, but I'm going to tell you, it can be the best and the worst thing on earth.
Stay away from it. Stay away from it.
It can be. Sometimes you guys will send me an email wanting to know like the natural way to whatever. And so I usually go through WebMD because then it is a trusted source, you know. So if I'm having a problem, you know, sleeping at night, what herb could I do? Well, I always say, you know, there's all kinds of great herbs you do. If you're studying cramming for a test, a lot of you college students have told me about this. Wow, do rosemary. Get some rosemary and just cut it in little pieces and just put it around the apartment or wherever you're living in your sorority house or whatever. So that is
lavender is fantastic for sleep.
Oh, lavender is wonderful. Lavender is absolutely wonderful. But now you got to breathe it in and do it in breaths, just like Julia Christine says. That's the best way to do it. Don't just, okay, I tried it and it's not working. You got to really concentrate on it.
Get some essential oil and put some on your fingertips and rub it into your temple and go to sleep. And imagine yourself walking down a long, dark hallway and finding a room that only you have the key for. And you go into that room and it looks like whatever plush, amazing bedding you could imagine. And you lock the door and it's just you. Maybe you get in a hot tub in that room. Maybe you just get into this yummy, cuddly bed. Maybe there's a fireplace, whatever it is. And you imagine that. And usually by the time you get into that bed, you're asleep. And I'm not going to lie. We can't sleep so much of the time because our brains don't know how to shut off. And you know what? I always say that I'm going to write a book and I'm going to title it Life is Practice, because it's true. The only reason that we run to WebMD or we think there's something wrong or we rush to a medication or we can't sleep or all of the things that go on with us is because of what we've practiced. We have practiced doing that for me, 40 some years, so that now I'm changing those practices and I'm starting new practices. And so and it's going to take time because I got 45 years of practice doing it the wrong way, quote unquote. And now I'm going to take care of myself, listen to my body, and get in tune with my body. Getting in tune with your body will happen a lot faster when you do it consistently. It's not going to take you an additional 40 years to do that. That happens fast because your body wants to be in tune.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something else. Don't listen to all the naysayers out there, because I had women meant well when I was pregnant were saying, you know what, here's what's going to happen first. The water's going to burst. Then you're going to be, then you're going to be ready to have the baby. If I had waited on the water to burst, my son was be in there. I mean, it's at 40 something years old. So I'm just saying, do research, talk to your family history. And then just because it happened to your mother doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. No. So I mean, that's another, because you are you. You are a human being. You're a different human being from your mother, from your sister, from your aunt, uncle, whatever. So you are a different human being. So just listen to you. Listen to your own. I'm glad I did. I'm really glad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's different for everybody.
I'm going to be strung out on hormones. I mean, so yeah. I'm glad I listened to myself.
Yeah, I am too. I will always encourage you to listen to yourself and listen to your body.
We've got to go into a commercial break. I can't believe half the show already over. We're going to have to start doing 2-hour segments. So let's go into a break. And when we come back, we have one of our listeners has gained weight due to having a baby, and she just wants some advice. Thinks the husband's not interested anymore. So let's get back into it. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of the Cobb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. And that's on the Eastern time zone. As you and I get to ride home with each other, and we bring Julia Christine with us as well. We get a lot of emails. Continue sending those. And you're not bothering me. Please send emails. And I love it. And so does Julia. Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. I did have an interesting one. I want to go ahead and take care of this one. I'm thinking you meant it as a compliment, okay? So Elisa sent a message about my hair, and she says, "What do you do with your hair?" And because it looks shiny all the time. Okay, Elisa, you're not going to believe this. Okay, she says, "How much money do you spend a month on your hair?" Maybe $5. Maybe that. Really? So this is what you do. You don't have to spend a ton of money on your hair. Okay, so I'm saving you money at the same time, Elisa. So here's what I do. I use white vinegar. Now, if you want your hair to be kind of a red tone, you can use the other color, vinegar. But vinegar does it. So this is what vinegar does. You can get a big gallon of vinegar for like nothing. And you're going to use like just about a quarter of a cup, and that's it. So just use the cheapest shampoo you can find. It doesn't matter. Wash your hair. And then what you'll do is get the vinegar full strength and put vinegar on your hair. And then rinse it off immediately. You don't have to wait any time. It's not going to take any longer to do this. So wash your hair. I use cheap Suave, whatever's on sale is what I use. And then I'll use the vinegar, and then I'll rinse that out. Then I use my conditioner. That's all I do. So what happens is the vinegar is a natural way to take care of your hair as well, because you get a buildup with smog. You get here in the South, we get this slimy weather in the summertime.
Do you do that with every wash?
No, every other wash.
Okay.
Every other wash I do that. Every whatever. And also don't wash it to death. I used to be one of those that would wash my hair every single day. This is back in my teenage years. But the one thing is not true. My parents always said, you won't have any hair by the time you're 30. Well, I still have hair. So
just a little bit. Oh my gosh, you have so much hair.
There's a bunch of it. But that's all I do. So, Lisa, I hope that helps. Just use vinegar. And if you'd like to have some red tones, again, use it. You can get
red wine vinegar.
That's it. Okay. So you can use that.
And I imagine using white vinegar. I cannot stand the smell of white vinegar.
I love vinegar. I love pickles. I like this a year when I'm making
cider vinegar, stuff like that. Cool.
I love get the cheap white vinegar. The cheap is what you want to use. Yeah, if you want hair and you want shiny hair, okay, and that's the way to do it. So just do that. That's one other thing. Now we got another email. So one of our listeners has just had a baby, and she's gained a little over 30 pounds, and she feels like her husband is not interested in her anymore because he's made remarks about the size she used to be before she was pregnant. I'm not sure if you want to preach to the husband or to the wife or both.
Well, I will say that there is a little bit of a trigger in this for me because I actually have experienced something like that. I didn't have a baby, which congratulations, that's amazing. But I have been in a situation where a boyfriend at the time was like, looked at a picture and was like, why can't you look like this? And it was like very hurtful, very hurtful. Mm-hmm. And I didn't say anything. But if I were that person now and somebody said that to me, what I would do is like, we're going to talk about this. What you just said is really hurtful. And like, make sure that like, and I'm going to misconstrue because I'm who I am. I don't know if this is who you are. But because I'm who I am, every comment you make now, I'm going to take and compare it against this, that I'm not who you want, that you don't actually want me, that no wonder you're too tired at night to have me or to whatever those things are. No wonder you don't touch me as much as you did when we first started dating. And what we do when someone criticizes us is we find the disparities, but like between what used to be and what is, and we think this is why, and it builds up into this thing that probably honestly does not even exist. But because of that one comment that maybe likely was said offhanded, because sometimes, and we've talked about the difference between men and women, and I think sometimes in trying to be encouraging, people say things that they think will be helpful. I want you to feel confident. And so I'm going to say, you might feel more confident if you lost the weight that you gained during the pregnancy or whatever that is. And it's likely that that's more of what's happening than he doesn't love me anymore. And so I absolutely, from personal experience, understand that pain and that hurt. But I want to encourage you to take a deep breath and pull yourself out of it and say, okay, that's not about me. You know what I mean? Like that is him. Maybe he's trying to help. Maybe he's not. You can, what if it to death? But what I would say to you first as the recipient of that comment, how do you feel? Do you like the extra weight on your body? If you do, fantastic. Then don't worry about it. Then talk to him about that. Then say to him, you know what? I appreciate your feedback and I think you're trying to encourage me, whether he is or not. You know what I mean? But I actually really like being this size and it helps me. I feel soft for my child. I feel like I have more comfort. They want to sleep on me. And that feels like it's because of this extra weight, whatever that is for you. Speak your truth. I'm making stuff up. And that might not be what's true for you. If you are not comfortable with that weight, then you do have the power to do something about that. Losing weight can be challenging. And as you know, or maybe not all of you know this, but as you know, Donna, I used to be a health coach. And so I helped people get on a program that would help them lose weight. And there's all kinds of things out there. And what I would say, having kind of come through that and become who and what I am today, I would say, first of all, don't worry about what the scale says. And I know. How else am I going to know what I weigh? How am I, like, that's what our society clings to is this scale. There is no, like, the BMI system and some of the systems that are set up that determine whether someone is obese or overweight are based on old things. In fact, the BMI system was created by a tall, thin white dude in Sweden. And the men in Sweden have completely different bone structures than Samoan men. Uh-huh. So are you telling me this more short, stocky, very built, full of muscle Samoan man is obese because he doesn't fit your BMI, you know what I mean, like requirements? It's not true. So the things that we base so much of our value on are archaic and they don't apply. And the same thing is true for your scale. Because what are you actually weighing? You're weighing your bones, you're weighing your skin, you're weighing your intestines, you're weighing everything. You're not just weighing your fat. And so as a result, my bones, I'm 5'9". Do you know what I mean? And so like my bones are going to weigh more than someone who's 5'1". So I'm automatically going to weigh more. And so to say that we need to, like women need to be within this weight, BS. Not a thing. And so that's the first thing I would say as far as losing weight. If you're going to use a scale so that you know where you are, use it for that. Use it as a tool. Do not use it to judge your value or to place any sort of like anything in. Don't weigh yourself every day. Don't weigh yourself every week. Literally, like put the scale away. And then
well, doesn't your body fluctuate also daily?
100%. If you have extra salt one day, if you drink a lot of water one day, and I'm not everyone has cycles, not just women. And so there are different times where you're going to hold more water weight than another time. If it's hot and muggy outside, you're going to swell. It's what happens. And so you can't expect the scale to only judge you, quote unquote, on what you've eaten the day before. Mm-hmm. It's not just about the calories that you've had. You're not weighing calories. You're weighing the heat, the salt intake, the water intake, all of this other stuff. And so that, again, get rid of the scale. And if you're going to use it as a tool and use it very sparingly. Then listen to your body. So much of what our country, and I love America, fantastic. I'm not putting, it's just fact. There's so much crap in our food. Just put it that way. Pay attention to what you're eating and try to eat the least amount of chemicals possible. Mm-hmm. Just doing that will change everything. Take out sugar. Just doing that will change everything.
You'd be amazed. Just taking out the sugar.
I'm not kidding. Like I know what I'm talking about. I lost 130 pounds and I have been able to maintain my weight that whole time. And so like, I'm telling you, this is what to do. All of that aside, take care of yourself. Prioritize your food. Yes, eating healthy costs a little bit more because you're going to pay for, I'm not even talking about organic. I'm not encouraging you to buy organic. I'm encouraging you to eat less chemicals. And I don't mean the spray that we put on our vegetables because you're going to wash your vegetables anyway. So what I am talking about is all of the preservatives and stuff in the crackers. I'm saying stop, take out sugar. Here's the thing. When you buy rice, don't buy enriched rice because the ingredient list on your bag of rice that you buy should say rice because you're buying rice. Yeah. But what happens is there's 5 to 7 ingredients in a bag of rice because of all the crap we put on it to bleach it so that it's all white. Who gives a care? Who cares if it's white? Let's just eat some rice. So
that's our new campaign slogan.
Oh my gosh.
Eat some rice.
Eat some rice. But here's the thing. Of course. Listen to your body. Pay attention to your body because the fads out there are going to tell you that don't eat eggs because they're too high in cholesterol. Guess what? 2 months ago, I saw another report that eggs are incredible for your body. Oatmeal. Everybody says eat oatmeal. It's so good for your heart. That may be true. It's terrible for your digestive system. Pay attention to your body. Brown rice. Only eat brown rice. BS. Do not eat brown rice. Your body doesn't function. Not everybody, but often the whole grains are harder for your body to process. Eat simply. Eat. Listen to your body. Oh my gosh, that feels so heavy. I'm allowed to eat bread. Eat bread. Please eat bread. Careful. Make sure it's not enriched and make sure it doesn't have all the crap in it. Look at the kind of bread you're buying. I make bread. Bread is made out of flour, water, yeast, and salt, and that is it. But that's not what you see on the back of your labels when you buy all these different types of bread.
If I can't pronounce it, I don't want to buy it.
Listen, so it is more expensive to eat that way. I'm not going to lie, but
in the long run, it's not. You either pay now or later.
Really. And you know what? Here's the thing. You're not going to buy the crap juice for your child. You're not going to buy the crap formula. You're going to buy the purest stuff. You're going to make sure everything is good. You're going to make sure that they are eating healthy. What about you? Make sure that it's an equal opportunity type of thing. And we can get more into this, but there's a big part of this that we aren't addressing. That's the quote unquote eating better. I'm not saying diet. Please don't jump onto some fad wagon about what's next. doing these shots, and again, there's no judgment, but again, we're just adding more chemicals for a quick fix. It is not about a quick fix. It's 100% about loving you and loving your body. And that's what I want to get to. Have a conversation. And this is going to include now the husband who says something like that. If you've said that to a loved one, or a wife who said something like that to a husband, it works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
In trying to encourage somebody to feel their best, you can take some of that on. You know, we've been buying a lot of sugar lately. What if we tried doing something, and what if we tried cutting out sugar for the month? Let's see what happens. Let's do that together. That is a more productive way of encouraging somebody rather than saying, you don't look like you did before you had the baby. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I got 2 words for you, and they're not very pleasant, because guess what? Who would look the same after pushing a baby out? I mean, come on. Let's give a little bit of credit to somebody who has had massive changes in their body, and it took 9 months to get there. Why do we expect her to pop back in 2 weeks? Are you kidding? You're kidding. So,
can I say something to the men who don't know what it's like for a woman to have a baby? Try to push out a telephone pole.
I've heard watermelon. I've never heard a telephone pole before.
That's what it feels like.
That's funny. Well, and here's the thing, and it's not one and done. There's so much trauma, and it's not even just about the trauma. What people don't know, what so many people, women included, don't know, is that when you are creating a baby, your intestines move, your liver, all of your organs move out of the way to make room for this baby, right? And so why would we expect everything to pop back? That is imagine going inside and moving crap around in there and feeling totally fine. It's not going to happen. And as women, we don't give ourselves that credit, that we are expected to just be normal and take care of a brand new creature. And so I want to just take a breath away from that. Give yourself not just a modicum of grace, but a heaping ton of
You've done
grace.
an awesome thing having a baby. I'm just telling you.
Exactly. It's miraculous for you. I mean, your body did that. You did that. And yeah, you had a little help, but you did the most of it, you know? And so I want to encourage that part of it. And again, talk to your spouse and say, okay, I just need to let you know that was really hurtful. And I don't know if you meant it, but because of that, I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I need to feel like I'm good enough, because you're good enough for me, whether you gain weight or not. I'm not in love with your weight. Yeah, I like it when you're trim and fit, of course, because that's what we're attracted to. That's what I'm attracted to. It's what everybody's attracted to, but maybe that's what he's attracted to. Mm-hmm. Cool. And I like that about myself too, but you got to give me a minute. And let's have a conversation instead of making me feel judged, so that now every time you look at me, that's all I hear is that I don't look like I did. That's all I hear when I go to buy groceries. That's all I hear when I change our son. It's all I hear. And I don't, when you're having these conversations, I never encourage you to say, you said this and it made me feel this way. No. What was said, I found very hurtful, and I've taken it personally. And now, because of who I am, it's all I hear. See how I'm taking ownership of my feelings. And yes, it's because of what was said, but I also am not assuming that that's what was meant. And I'm going to assume, based on the loving relationship, that when you say that, your partner is going to be reacting like, oh my gosh, that is not what I meant. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. Oh my gosh, I'm you're still thinking about that? I said that to you 2 months ago. I know. Because it's all I hear. And I need to talk to you about it, because it's getting in the way and making me feel worse. And I'm not going to be able to move forward and get back to where I was when I feel like crap, because I feel judged every time you look at me, every time you don't touch me, every time you don't get in the shower with me, every time. It's all I hear. I would put money on it that your partner, who has been incredibly critical, whether it's about that or anything else, has no idea the effect that it has had on you. And that's okay, but you can't expect them to know, which is why you have to communicate and not attack, but say, this is getting in the way because everything you say is compounded and I take personally. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because of that one comment that has stuck like a burr in my side that I cannot get out. And I need to understand what you meant. And I need to understand that you love me and that you don't care about XYZ, whether it's weight or clothing or jobs or like whatever is in the way, money.
Mm-hmm.
We love each other, not the body, not the finances, not whatever. If we love each other and can communicate, we can work through that together. But because of me feeling attacked with every glance my way, even though that's not true, that's what I'm feeling, I can't move forward. I can't even pretend to address any of those things. And we're not doing it together anymore because I'm separating myself more and more and more based on that one comment.
Well, there are some men and women who just really don't pay any attention to the way things come out. So, I mean, I know this guy one time, he said, you know, I got myself into trouble. And I said, what did you do? And he said, I asked a woman when the baby was due. And she turned around and said, I'm not pregnant. You know, and that ticked that woman off. He said, so I've learned not to say that. And I said, right. Don't. I mean, it's not one Phil or some guy. Right. And so I said, no, yeah, I mean, you should never. I don't even do that. And I'm a woman. Right. What does the baby do?
Exactly. I mean, that's just foolish. But I do want to give another example of something that is very similar. I'm very careful with how I speak to people more often than not. And I was with a friend of mine just a couple of weeks ago. We were at a bar, and where we were, like, there's a couple of local bars, and we hang out there, la, la, la. I'm not a big drinker, but, like, in fact, I wasn't even drinking that night, but I was hanging out with my friends kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I was there, and the music wasn't great. The vibe wasn't fantastic. There wasn't a lot going on. And so my friend was like, I think I'm going to go to that other bar. And I was like, okay, cool. I was there with a different person, and they wanted to stay where we were. So I was like, I'm going to stay here, but you do what you want to do. And I'm not kidding. She vacillated back and forth for like 15, 20 minutes, and she wouldn't stop talking about how she's not sure if she should go or if she wants to go and da-da-da. And so finally I was done. And I was like, you know what? You're a grown woman. You can, like, you don't have to stay here. Like, don't feel obligated to stay here for us. You go do your thing. Like, it sounds to me that's what you want to do because you're not stopping talking about it. And I was that direct with her instead of being like, you know, and being soft about it. What I said wasn't bad. What I said wasn't hurtful, but she was already in a pretty vulnerable place because there was somebody there who she dated and she was all in her head about it anyway, blah, blah, blah. So where she was and where I was, where I'm like, I'm done talking about this, make a decision. You know what I mean? And so where we both were, which there was nothing wrong where either of us were, but because of where we both were, it collided. And as soon as it was out of my mouth, I thought, that was pretty direct, Julia. And then I saw her reaction and I was like, oh, she didn't like that. And so she ordered another drink and we waited. And I was like, and she like stopped looking at me and stopped talking to me. And I thought, okay, I've pissed her off. And like, that's what it is. And I'm the kind of person where a lot of people, when they're angry with each other, stop talking to the other person. I find that incredibly juvenile. I want to communicate. Let's get this out so that we can move forward, you know? And so I sat there and I waited, and I would look at her and she'd look away. And I sat there and I waited. And finally I said, you want to talk about it? And she was like, you never talk to me that way. And I was like, you're right, I don't. But like, something needed to be said. And then she explained to me where she was and everything like that. And I didn't apologize for what I said because what I said wasn't wrong. But what I did say was, I'm sorry it made you feel that way. I'm sorry you felt that way. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry that it had that, you had that reaction from it. I'm sorry that it affected you in that way. And you're right. I could have said that more gentle. I didn't apologize for not saying it gentle. I just acknowledged that I had a hand in this. I could have said that in a more gentle way. Not knowing that you were fragile, I didn't. You know what I mean? And so there are multiple.
You and I could, I mean, really, I'm like you. I'm like, okay, you're apparently wanting me to give you permission or not give you permission.
Yeah.
So I just go ahead and say, well, then go.
And that's what I said. I said, it seemed to me that you were staying because you felt like you had to, and I wanted you to be free of that. And then that was where, like, whatever. But here's the thing. Ego's a thing. And how someone is going to take something that is said, you have no control over. You do have control over making sure that it doesn't affect the other person, or when it does, acknowledging what I said affected her. I knew as soon as I saw her face, I was like, oh, this is a thing. And so I waited. And if she wasn't going to say anything, I was. And that's why I said, do you want to talk about it? And so then that opened her up, and she was able to tell me exactly how it made her feel. And I just listened to her. And again, how we talk about all the time, when you just allow someone to talk and realize, even if they're criticizing you, it's not about you. I don't care that she was upset. It's not that I don't care. Bad use of words. But like, it doesn't affect me that she was upset by what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I said wasn't wrong. I will own that it wasn't soft, that I could have approached it differently, but I'm not going to apologize for what I said. And like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say that to her either. She heard an apology.
All right. Let me tell you what I think you need to do if this, and I think you would do this with me. Okay. If something like that arises between me and you, I would appreciate you being direct.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm about to fall off a cliff, I would expect you to yell at me and say, Donna, just you can't hear me. Take a step back, okay?
Yeah.
You fall off the cliff. I'm that person. I'm that. You'd better tell me what it is.
Yeah.
I know it sounds unusual for someone from the South. That's probably why Deja Lee and I get along with each other so well. We can say stuff to each other, and to other people it would be like, oh my God, they're mad at each other. No, we were just telling Scotty the truth. I mean,
yeah. And I'm not going to lie to you. She's that kind of person too. She wants me to be honest and frank with her. But then when I am, it's like, oh, I'm not used to that from you, or I'm in a vulnerable place. And so that just added on to the already kind of icky feeling.
Something else. I think it was she met somebody that she saw somebody she used to know, or so there was, and she was just.
There were other things involved. She was already fragile, and so for me to do that, it just added fuel to the fire, and it sent her over that edge. And so then now she has an out. She can be angry with me. She can't be angry with the dude across the bar, but she can be angry with me. And so, but that's the thing. There's all these little nuances, and I could have held on to that, and we could have gotten into a big row because of it. But I know it's not about me. I know it's about her and this dude. And I know it's about her not wanting to make a choice and whatever that is, and taking what I said the quote unquote wrong way. And so I don't have to hold on to any of that. And neither does she. And we talked about it and it was done. And so that's where communication and just understanding each other. Listen. Don't jump to apologize and make everything right. The other thing is, if somebody apologizes to you, don't jump into it's okay. If their behavior is poor, like for example, let's pretend that this woman talks to her husband and he says, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I would encourage you not to say it's okay, because it's not okay. That was not an okay thing to say. But thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that was hurtful. Thank you for apologizing. I receive your apology. I accept your apology. There's nothing okay about what was done, but we're trained to say, I'm sorry, it's okay. No. I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I like 100% honesty. I mean, that's I just like that. And it's not being rude to me. It's not. I mean, a few people about the show say things, and, like it could be about the set. It could be about whatever. I used to use a blue screen. Well, I mean, with a blue screen, you got blonde hair. It makes you look wavy. I mean, you look like that.
Right. Well, and sometimes those like Zoom backgrounds, like they get blurry and like it's weird.
It drives me nuts. So thank you for the ones who sent me the email saying, I think you look better without it. You don't need a green screen. Thank you. You're looking out after me. You're looking out after the show.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you so much for that. Really, thank you so much. We got to call it a go. How can folks find the podcast?
Sure. You can find the podcast on any podcast like listening space. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's pretty much everywhere. And it's called Life After Breath with Julia Christine. You can find me on my website, juliachristinehealer.com. And then you can email me at healwithjuliachristine@gmail.com.
There you go. Thank you, girl. We're going to have to call it a day. Continue sending emails, Donna at donnasedge.com.
Please.
.com. And I'll get those to Julia as well. But again, thank you so much for watching.